I got a lot of stuff that I could share, but we don't have all day, so I'm gonna shorten it. Number one, the reason this whole thing got started was because, we had a convention in San Diego, and Fred, I was picking up Fred at the airport. I picked him up, and I had told Fred, I said, Fred, there's a rumor that you're gonna be retiring. And this is when it was just rumored that he was retiring. And he said, he goes, I've been doing this a long time. He explained to me that he was considering retiring. He didn't tell me he was actually gonna retire. And then I posed the question, if in fact you do retire, who's gonna be our next president? And he said, well, the next person in line is Renfro. And I said, you're gonna put Brian as our president? I told him right then and there, I said, Fred, he's not ready. And I didn't even know he was an alcoholic. I just knew his person and his character, and I said, in the interactions that I had with him, and I knew that he wasn't ready to be our national president. And I told Fred that. And Fred said, well, that's basically the way it works, And so as you guys all know, this is why we are where we are. Now, when the charges first came out, and Brian Renfro was brought up on all these charges, I sent him an email, and I told him, I said, Brian, if in fact you're guilty of even one of the charges, just one, I said, just walk away gracefully. I said, because if you don't, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna divide this union like it's never been divided before. Second thing, you're gonna bring a lot of good people down with you, because anybody that supports you is gonna go down. The membership is not gonna tolerate what you have done. And remember what happened at the convention. Those were delegates. Okay, those weren't the membership. So they didn't speak for all the membership. I guarantee you, if the membership voted, he'd have been gone. Okay? Now, there are those people that support him, and that's fine. That's their right. They have the prerogative to vote and support for whoever they want. But I'm telling you guys right now, the majority of the membership, not the leadership, but the membership, the majority of the membership, and I can tell you right now that the rejection of the TA is an indication of how the majority of the general membership feels. They're going to vote his ass out. That's the bottom line. Well, it's not going to do us any good to vote him out if we don't have someone that's going to come in that's strong and stands for the letter carrier. And my brother James Henry does that, and he will do that for us. So, then we go to Las Vegas, and we have a COP there. And I was going to talk about the situation with Brian Renfro. And we voted, the leadership voted to not talk about it. And I was like, what the hell? That's when I said, okay, you know what? That's it. That's when I got the idea of starting the concerned letter care. And it just caught on like wildfire, because there's a lot of leaders throughout the country that feel the way I do, that feel the way we do now. And so, for those of us that know that he is not our leader, he doesn't deserve to be in that position. He should not have that honor and privilege of being our national president. And we, the CLC, are going to make sure that he is not. In 2026, we're going to make sure that my brother James and all the candidates that he selects get elected. So for that, I want to thank you guys for being a part of that. And we're going to get into fundraising later on, because as you guys well know, it costs money to do a mailing. It costs money to get, if we send a letter, you've got to pay for the postage, the envelopes, the printing, the paper, the whole 9 yards. It's expensive, what we're going to be doing. And we need your support. So we'll get into the fundraising in a little bit. We need your help. If you can't, then all we need, and I know all of you can do this, I know this for a fact. If you can't help us financially, I know you can help us by voting. Everybody can do that. So please, when it comes time to vote, not only you, but get your members to vote. Because it's through that channel that we're going to make the change that this union needs to make to get us back to the strong union that I was once proud of. I'm almost embarrassed to say that that's my national, I am embarrassed to say that that is my national president. That's embarrassing to me. So, thank you.
What's the Carter?
Tell him what your responsibilities as the chairman of the CLC is.
To get James Henry elected.